Are they nice and firm?
My nipples are at attention.
Live from Cleveland, Ohio, it's the Barbecue Central Show on the Barbecue Central Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Barbecue Central Show. Welcome aboard. Great to have you along. This is the special edition of the Barbecue Central Show. We do it about once a month, covering various barbecue topics. It's the Barbecue Roundtable, a monthly show where a select panel of guests talk about a specific barbecue topic. Tonight we have now making 3 of the 4, I believe, in a backyard sense. We've been focusing on the backyard chef here for the last couple of go-arounds for the Barbecue Roundtable. This is the chicken edition. So pull up a chair, pull up a pad and a pen or a pencil or some type of writing utensil so you can go ahead and write down all the great information that will be shared tonight. Joining me, by the way, this is the last week of the 2 Easy Hooks giveaway by bbqhooks.com. So stay tuned to the end of the show for that. We'll actually try and fit that in some way, somehow. We have a panel tonight of currently 2, waiting for a third. We have JM. He is in Florida. CelebrityChef.wordpress.com is his website. He also has a podcast as well, Celebrity Grill. Then we also have Jim from the Mind of Men podcast. He has done a few bumpers for the show. I've been on his show. He has also been on my show. Mindofmen.com is his website. So we welcome them in. You guys, thanks for taking the time out to come on and talk about the chicken side of things for the Backyard Chef. But before we actually get going, and hopefully Bruce McCall, who is Huck Sr., ends up joining the conversation here, but if he fits in, he fits in. If not, no worries. What's everybody cooking on? And we will start tonight with JM.
Well, Greg, what I'm cooking on is a Weber 22.5 charcoal, usually a mix between lump and just regular briquettes.
Do you have a preference of briquette? Do you like the Kingsford, or do you use that new hot button item out there, the hardwood lump briquette or the all-natural briquette?
Oh, when I prep my charcoal, and I don't know if you're going to get into that, I do a mix of both, but I've got to tell you, I was raised on Kingsford, and I don't deviate too much from that. I don't know if I'm just old school, but it's always worked really well for me.
That's why we can do the show, because everybody has something a little bit different. Otherwise, it would be very boring. Jim, what are you using to cook on?
Well, I got a couple of different cookers, Greg. I've got a medium-sized Big Green Egg that I use down in our summer house, and I just use lump charcoal with that. I haven't made the jump to the briquettes, even the newer briquettes. But the main cooker that I use around the house, and the one that I've been using now for a little over a year, is my Fast Eddie FEC 100 cooker. And that's a big honking power pellet grill cooker, and I just absolutely love that thing.
All right, and joining me now, the third member has made it in. It's Bruce McCall. We will call him Huck Sr. tonight. He's from HucksHut.com. They also do their own podcast called In the Hut, him and his son, Huck Jr. So, Bruce, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Hey, good evening, Greg. Glad to have me on. Thank you.
No problem. We're just going into what people are cooking on, so if you want to give us an idea of what cookers Huck Sr. has tooling around in the backyard.
Well, right now I'm cooking mostly on my BDSs. We're doing mostly family stuff, so I don't need anything real big. But, we got a couple of them, different sizes, depending on the crowd having over at that time,
All right. Mm-hmm. So we are talking chicken tonight, everybody, so get your chicken caps on. This is an interesting subject because it can obviously, unlike the ribs or the pork butt or the brisket, you can really kind of get into a number of different facets with the chicken itself. There's a lot of variance. So we'll start with Huck Sr. on this one. What do you look for, if anything, when you're buying chicken? And then we'll get into, if you're doing whole birds or breasts or thighs or all like, but just in an overall sense, what are you looking for, if anything, when you're buying chicken from the grocer, butcher, wherever you get it?
Okay, well, buying chicken, just like buying any product, you over the years, you look for somebody reputable. You look for somebody that's got good stuff and, they got a good turnover, so it's not something that's going to be laying around. And then once you make friends with that guy, then he's going to be looking for you, and he's going to say, hey, no, not that one. He's going to give you the best one. So I guess find a good butcher first, make friends with him, and he'll make you happy.
All right, Jim, what do you think about that?
Well, the thing is, I would love to be able to do something like that if I had a butcher around here that I could establish a relationship with. But, I've got 2 young kids. I've got a crazy schedule. Pretty much my butcher is the wholesale club, and I just go down and I get the Purdue birds that come, basically in 2 packs, and I'll either cook them both over the weekend or freeze one and cook the other. And, generally speaking, I've been pretty pleased with going that route.
JM, any investigative work that you do?
Greg, I got to be honest, I just don't get the cheapest one. And the reason why is because there's a reason it's the cheapest one. And I certainly don't want to feed that to my family and friends. And I don't know, I guess I just make sure the expiration date hasn't passed. I just get it at the closest grocery store. And, the real magic comes when you put it on the fire. And then you blow the guest away with what happens after it's on the grate.
All right, so next step in the prep process, anybody doing a brine or is anybody injecting? And we'll head back to JM for that.
I haven't done injecting yet. I really want to try that and see how it goes. As far as brine, I marinate the chicken sometimes. I've done it in a mojo spice. I've done it, in kind of a mop sauce alternative. But one of the things I like to do is lift up the skin, especially on a whole bird, lift up the skin and slide a garlic butter mixture between the skin and the actual meat. The stuff it's ridiculously awesome. And I got to tell you, it makes it moist. And I'm sure everyone can imagine butter between the skin and the bird is just ridiculously good. And another thing I do before I put the chicken on the grill.
Wait a second. Don't get ahead of us here. We got to go. We got to go process by process.
I'm sorry,
it's
Greg. I'm getting excited.
Either injecting or brining. If you don't do either or whatever, then we're good there. So Huck Senior, go ahead.
Okay, I'm a brine guy. Okay, I'm really into the brine. I like that a lot. I have injected a few, and I'm not noticed the difference of the flavor. But brining, I really can control what I'm trying to do.
How long do you brine the bird for?
Well, I'd like to say at least 4 hours, right? I mean, possibly longer, but at least 4 hours. It seems to get the results that I'm really looking for.
Jim.
Well, it depends on whether I'm cooking parts or whether I'm cooking a whole bird. So when I'm cooking parts, chicken breasts particularly, which tend to dry out pretty easily, and this is whether I'm putting it on the barbecue or whether I'm putting it on the grill, I'm doing a brine in a salt and sugar mixture, and I'm actually using a recipe that comes out of one of the Steve Reichland books. And it's a real simple brine, just got some vegetables and some flavors in it, and I leave the breasts in for 2 hours and not a minute longer because you leave them in the brine for too long and they get real rubbery. When I'm doing a whole bird, I haven't brined yet, been meaning to do it, but I just never have the time because, as Huck says, you got to do it for a lot longer if you're doing a whole bird. And I usually don't have that much foresight to be able to put something out there. But I definitely have done some injections with the whole bird. And, honestly, when you're doing it on the barbecue, it comes off pretty moist anyway. And so I'm kind of on the fence as to whether an injection really is terribly useful in a chicken.
Are you using a particular recipe or a particular spice when you're doing the chicken, Jim?
Yeah, well, actually, I try all kinds of spices. So I'm doing stuff. There's a great orange spice that I found over at the charcoal store, which is where I got my FEC 100. And they've got a really great one. It's a rub that I'll do, and then I'll sometimes mix that into the injection if I'm doing something like that. As far as the actual brine goes, nothing real spicy. As I said, it's primarily salt and brown sugar, and then there's some some cloves, some onions, some garlic, that sort of thing gets thrown in.
What about you, Huck? You brine? You using anything in particular spice-wise, or do you use a particular brine recipe that you like to get that flavor for?
Okay, I got a pretty basic brine recipe, that comes, it's like salt and pepper, like he says, and I like to put a little, a little spicy stuff in there with nutmeg and a few cloves too. But it's not too much that I put in there. But like I said, it's a spicy brine. And then after I brine it, I put it in the refrigerator so the skin kind of dries out.
Gotcha. All right. So is anybody, or when you do the whole birds, do you do my favorite thing to that bird? Do you spatchcock it? And we'll start with JM.
I've spatchcocked it before, and of course the breast part and part of the drumstick didn't turn out as perfect as I needed it to. And what I came to realize is that when I spatchcocked it, cutting it right down the middle and spreading it apart like that, parts of the birds were lifting up off the grate. So I just wrapped a couple of bricks and foil that I got at the local hardware store, put it on top of certain parts of the bird, and flattened out where I needed it to. Came out great. Some awesome jerk chicken that day.
Jim, are you spatchcocking?
Nope, never had to.
Any interest in spatchcocking?
You know what? It's one of those things where I just kind of, other than being able to say that I spatchcock my chicken, probably not so much.
What about you, Huck Sr.?
Yeah, well, we've done that a lot. It kind of quickens up the whole bird when you're doing it that way because, this is less surface that has to be cooked. It does create a little bit different flavor than just doing the whole bird.
All right. For the rubbing aspect that goes on, how far in advance are you rubbing the bird before you put it on the cooker? And we'll circle right back to Huck Sr. for that. All
right. Best case scenario, I'm starting overnight, right? I didn't brine that bird up, and then I took him out the brine. I got him sitting in the refrigerator. I rub that bird up while I'm firing the grill up, and then put him on there and let him go. It works that way.
JM.
I actually rub it a little bit earlier before Huck Sr. does, and I rub everything in but the salt. Save that for last, and that's probably done, I would say maybe an hour, hour and a half to 2 hours before I get that fire going, and I roll from there.
Jim?
Yeah, what I probably do is I generally will do the rub on the bird, and then I will go get the fire going. So the bird will sit there with the rub on it for maybe half an hour or so before the cooker's going, but not much time, not much more time than that.
And do you guys have a particular rub that you like to use, either commercially or something that you're making up? And we'll start with JM.
I tried different rubs, and, I haven't really found one I'm in love with. The one that I find the most fun is I just look in my pantry, and I know there's really 5 different aspects to a rub. And, you got the sweet, savory, the, bitter, all the combination. And I just look to see what's in the pantry, mix it up right there on the spot. And it just makes me feel better when I put it on the chicken, like put a little more effort into it and get a little more out of it.
Jim.
Yeah, my go-to rub is probably that orange one that I mentioned from the charcoal store, and I'm sure you can get it from other places too. If you just go to that website, they'll have it. I can't think of the name of it right now, or I'd mention it. But other than that, what I'll sometimes do is, I have a couple of books on, beer can chicken, things like that. And when I'm feeling creative, I'll just go through and I'll just try a new recipe each time and try a different rub. But I'm kind of in the same boat. Other than that orange one, I really haven't found one that I would say that's my go-to rub every single time.
Huck.
Okay, myself, I'm into trying a lot of different stuff, so I always got something new, right? So my favorite rub is the newest thing I got on the block that I want to try, right? And I got some rub that I got from Meadow Creek, and it has a pretty good taste. But normally I'm going like with my basic rub, salt, pepper, little oregano, little garlic powder, and something green, parsley or basil or thyme, something like that.
So I think we can all agree that the prep time or the prep consistency of chicken probably isn't as labor intensive as maybe some of the other stuff. But is there anything in the prep side that we haven't covered yet that you do with the chicken? And we'll go back to JM on
that. Greg, there is something I do to help keep the bird moist, and this is when I'm doing a whole bird. I take some sea salt. I actually put it in my palm, and I rub it on the inside of the chicken. And as we all know, salt draws out the moisture out of most meats. Of course, if it's left on there for over 20 minutes, well, if it draws out the moisture when you put it on the outside, if we put the salt inside the bird, wouldn't it be logical that it draws some moisture to the interior? And that holds well. It holds well during the grilling, especially if you're doing beer can style. And that's really one of the last things I do. And I'm telling you, it rocks. It's really good.
Jim.
Well, actually, the only thing I do, and that's moving into more of the cooking thing, is that I'm always using a beer can style cooker to keep the chicken moist throughout the cook.
Huck?
Okay, well, I kind of do things. I do the beer can thing, and then a lot of times if I'm doing a whole chicken, I'm like stuffing it, maybe put an onion or a lemon or orange or something like that can add a little flavor and moisture to the whole deal.
All right. That's going to wrap up the prep portion of this segment. So, guys, hang out here for a few minutes. We'll do a commercial break. We'll come back and get into the cooking portion of the show. Don't forget, coming up here at the end, somehow we're going to fit in 2 phone calls for the last 2 hooks of the giveaway that we've been doing with the Easy Hooks. That's been brought to you by bbqhooks.com, so check them out. You're winning the large ones, by the way. It's like a $20 value, free here on the Barbecue Central show. Don't forget about Yoder Smoky Mountain Barbecue. They're the online leading retailer of the Meadow Creek barbecue equipment. You can check them out at SeriousBBQs.com. They give you the profitable barbecues for years to come with their pig roasters, chicken cookers. It's all great stuff made in the Amish country of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, so check them out. Yoder's Smoky Mountain Barbecue, SeriousBBQs.com. When we come back, we'll get into the cooking segment. You're listening to the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Networks.
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Joe Bees gives you every vitamin and all the minerals naturally to get energy and feel great. Go to joebees.com. That's JOEBEES.com.
Forget going from site to site to get all your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber as well as a full lineup of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. You can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from even Reichland of Barbecue U fame. Check Fred out on the web at fredsmusicandbbq.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.
To get on the Barbecue Central show, call 216-220-0966.
Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Paper bags and plastic hearts, all our belongings and shopping carts.
All right, we are back. It's the Barbecue Central show. This is the Barbecue Roundtable, chicken edition for the backyard enthusiast, chef, if you will. 3-panel member going on right now. We are getting into the cooking portion here. So, guys, now that we have everything prepped up and we're ready to rock. By the way, we have Huck Sr. from HucksHut.com. Also in the Hut podcast, we have JM, who is the Wow, nice mouth today, Rempe. Celebrity Grill podcast. CelebrityGrill.wordpress.com is his website. Jim from the Mind of Men podcast as well. Mind of Men. BarbecueSentral.com. Guys, thanks for joining me. So let's get outside. We're going to start putting these things on the cooker first and foremost, and we'll start with JM on this one. Do you bring your cooker up to temperature first before you add the meat?
That depends. If I'm doing pieces, legs, thighs, whatever, yes, I bring it up because I got to scorch that skin and get that crispy. But if I'm doing a whole bird, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I know when meat reaches a certain temperature, the proteins shrink up a little bit, the pores in the meat shrink up, so that smoke that most of us try and get when we grill, it doesn't even penetrate the meat after a certain temperature. So if I'm really feeling that smoky feeling, I'm going to definitely just pull it right out the fridge and then put it on there. Got to cook it a little longer, but I'm willing to pay the price for that. And but most of the time, I get it up to the heat.
Huck Senior.
Okay, I would say I bring it pretty close. Okay, I mean normally if I'm doing chicken, I'm usually trying to shoot to about 275, 300 for the cooker, and once I get it over 200. I put it on the grill. It's going to be right where I want it to go in a couple minutes anyway. So I get it close first.
Jim.
Well, I always got to remember that I'm dealing with chicken, and chicken's a dangerous meat to play around with, especially if you leave it out in room temperature for too long. So, no, I generally leave it in the fridge until the cooker's at the cooking temperature, and then it goes right in.
All right. Wood smoke for flavor, if anybody is so inclined. We'll start with Huck Senior.
For chicken, I like a combination of a little oak and apple, or maybe even cherry. But you kind of go a little light with any poultry. You know what I mean?
Jim, obviously you're going to be using wood because of the cooker you're using, unless you're going Grill Side Jones. So when you're using the FE100 for your chicken, do you use a mixture of pellets, or do you just use one particular pellet for the chicken?
Well, keep in mind, too, that even the flavored pellets are going to only be about half the flavor. So, for example, your apple pellets are going to be half apple and half some standard wood. So, I'm usually going with a light one. I'll play with apple. The other thing is, though, that the FEC100 has a big hopper, and sometimes I'm cooking in whatever wood is left in the hopper. And again, since chicken doesn't take that long to cook, I'm not as worried unless I've got something like a mesquite or something in there, which I'll generally try to pull out. Otherwise, apple, cherry, pecan I've used before as well. Any of those are pretty good.
I thought you were trying to draw me out into my pellet dissertation again. By the way, you were saying 50-50 applewood and then the heat pellet in there as well, but different subject for a different day. JM, any wood for wood flavor, wood smoke flavor?
Absolutely. On the 22.5 Weber, there's not a lot of room for the logs in there, and tending that can be a pain. So obviously going with the chunks, but that thing is going over oak wood. Down here in Florida, you'd think we throw palm trees in there, but that's not going to go so well. But the oak works out very good. When that's not available, I go with the hickory. I usually don't mix the woods only because, I'm a backyarder. I'm certainly not, as fine-tuned when it comes to the taste as I know Huck Senior and Jim are. But, I just want that certain smoke flavor. And maybe one of these days I'll have the nose to differentiate the apple, the cherry, and the oak and mix it all up. But right now, just all oak, all mesquite, or whatever's on the shelf.
All right. Now, this question, Jim can answer this as well. Jim, did you say you had a charcoal grill?
I do. I've got a Big Green Egg.
Okay. We'll start with Huck Senior on this one. You use UDS, so obviously your main fuel supply is going to be a charcoal. Are you a lump guy or are you a briquette guy, first and foremost? And then if you answer the right question, or whatever question you answer, I might have a follow-up to that. So go ahead and answer that. Huck? Everybody there?
I'm still here,
with you, Greg.
Jim and JM are still here. All right. Jim, what do you use, lump or, I probably know the answer, but some people go outside the box when it comes to those Kamado-style cookers. Lump or briquettes?
Yeah, well, so the thing you got to remember is that I've had this Big Green Egg now for a number of years, and back when I got it, there really wasn't a good option for the briquette. I mean, basically, it was your Kingsford, and it was whatever Kingsford had lying around the factory, they stuffed into a briquette. So I pretty much was raised on the lump charcoal in the Big Green Egg, and that's pretty much what I've stuck with.
And JM, you're using still the combination of briquettes and lump.
Yeah, if I'm doing the whole bird, it's more briquettes. But if I'm doing pieces, I'm going to throw some lump in there, especially to start the charcoal. But yeah, chicken, it's going to take over half an hour to do it properly. So I'm going with the briquettes.
When you're cooking your chicken, what kind of a pit temperature are you shooting for, or grilling temperature are you shooting for? We'll start with Jim.
It kind of all depends on how much of in a hurry I am. Obviously I like to keep it closer to true barbecue temperatures, but if you're trying to get 180 in the center of the bird, it's going to take you forever if you're running at 220. So I'm usually probably between 250 and 275, and if I'm getting close to dinner time and the thing's taking a little too long, I usually start bumping it up.
JM?
I'm right along there with you. I will add this, as far as the backyard chicken style, when you're going with pieces, I get that fire. Be honest with you, I get it over 500, especially with the pieces, just because I want to make sure when that skin is grilled that Maillard reaction happens. Those grill marks are there, because if not, I'm going to be serving, like the chicken meat with a rubber glove around it, and that's just tastes nasty. And so I get it definitely hot. If I keep it under 400, especially with the pieces, and I'm trying to grill rather than barbecue, I might as well put it in the oven and bake it, because I'm not going to get the same results, that same nice little dainty browning. I don't want that. I want the real deal stuff. So I get it over 500, then I put it off of to either direct medium heat or just indirect heat, let it finish with the lid down.
Yeah, Greg, and one thing I just want to add to that, because it's a very good point that Jane brought up. If you're cooking at 275, you're not going to get that crispy skin that you might like on a nice grilled chicken. So, I'll sometimes have to pull it out, and my Fast Eddie isn't going to get much above 450. So I'll throw it on the grill to finish it for a few minutes just to get that skin all nice and crispy sometimes.
I know that the big thing in the competition world is that bite-through skin, which isn't crispy skin, and it always seems hard to master. And maybe it's almost impossible to master, but it's hard to even get on a consistent basis. A lot of people would tell you on the competition scene, one of the most available things to cook and that it's cheap and you could practice all day long is chicken, but that's probably where the majority of teams actually lack for some unknown reason. Do you guys ever cook at a lower temperature? And what I mean that, maybe in the 350, the 450 degree, and then once you get the temperature right, kick up the heat a little bit more and then put the skin side down and then kind of do almost a reverse sear type method? Jim?
No, generally I cook first and then sear at the end. Well, I guess that is a reverse sear method. So yes, I guess I could say I do that. Yes.
JM, do you ever try to put the sear at the end instead of trying to get it up front?
Greg, I tried it and I haven't found as much success with that as searing it up front. Only because that skin changes in texture, it changes in consistency. Just like when you put a steak. If you put a steak on the hot grill bars and the hot grate, you're going to get the grill marks on one side a lot better than the other, because that other side has already started cooking. It's already, browning and stuff like that. Right. And the whole temperature of the actual piece of chicken has gone up, and it's just not going to have the same reaction. At least I can't get it to have the same reaction when I do it reverse. Again, I'm working on it, but yeah, man, I burn that thing before I begin and then take the temperature down.
Huck, are you there by chance?
Yes.
How the hell did you come back?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened.
All right, go ahead and jump in on that. Are you?
Okay. I like I said, I'm normally cooking my chicken 275 to 300, and then at the end, hey, I jack it up and finish that and get that skin like you want it, and that's when I paint my little glaze or whatever I'm going to put on it at that time. So I'm cranking the heat up at the end.
Are you?
And it's only going to be a couple minutes.
Are you a lump charcoal or a briquette charcoal guy?
I'm a lump guy, but I'm not. I will use briquettes if I have to.
So if you have to use briquettes, are you one that is now liking the hardwood natural lump briquette that's out, or do you still stand by the blue bag of Kingsford?
Well.
Or is it whatever's available?
The Kingsford is really, it gets me because, it's so much ash and when you're starting off, the flavor's bad. So I try to stay with that pretty much. Stay away from that, I say. I use the Competition K. That's a little bit better. But I have used Wicked Good briquettes, and they seem to work out real nice.
Or is anybody doing a mop or a baste or a spray during the cook? We'll go back to JM on that.
Yes, I use not an apple cider vinegar, but kind of a variation of that. Mix that with water, onions chopped up, maybe garlic, add a little flavor in there. Keep it nice and light. And I actually brush that on with a mop. Works out really well. Adds to the browning effect, actually, depending on what's in the ingredient of the mop.
Jim?
Yeah, now one thing too, Greg, I want to be clear here is that in my smoker, I'm primarily cooking whole birds. I'm not very often doing pieces. Okay. And what I found is that given that, when you're doing a whole bird, there's not a lot of value I find in a spray or a mop because you've got the skin. It's just going to sort of cluster up on the skin. It's not going to work its way into the meat or keep it moist inside. So that's what, as I said earlier, that I'm using a beer can style. I'm using one of those Weber gadgets that you just sort of impale the chicken on and fill it with liquid. And that kind of keeps the thing moist from the inside.
Huck Sr.
Okay, I mean, I don't use a spray or a mop. Like I said, once the chicken is done, that's when I give it a little glaze at the end. But no, not during the cook.
As far as internal temperatures are concerned, whether it be peaches. Okay. Welcome to the Fruit Central show. Whether it be pieces or a whole bird, Huck, and we'll start with you. What are the temperatures that you're shooting for if you're doing chicken thigh or if you're doing a whole bird?
Okay, well, I'm going to either measure it, if I'm doing a whole bird, I'm going to measure it in the breast, and I'm looking for 165 or so in the breast. If I'm measuring in the thigh, I'm going to look for 180, because a lot of times in a competition, you're only doing thighs. So, I'm looking for 180 there, and, I either measure either one, if I'm doing a whole bird, I'm measuring both of them. So, but that's the temperatures I'm looking for.
Jim, your temps?
Yeah, I'm in exactly the same place. I'm looking for 161, about 165 or so for the breast. And, when I'm doing a whole bird, I'm poking it in several different places and making sure I'm getting 180 on the legs, in the thighs area, and then 165 in the breasts.
JM, anything different with you?
No way, man. When it comes to chicken, I don't play games, but I will agree with Jim. I poke it in a couple different places. You never know if you poke it and it's resting on the bone or resting in a piece of fat or whatever. But worst comes to worst, man. I cut into it because it's just no playing games when it comes to that stuff.
Anything in the cooking realm here, as we're going to fade out to another break and then into the post cook. Anything else during the cooking process that you do, JM?
Yeah, man, I always got olive oil on hand. That stuff is the magic of the gods when it comes to any kind of meat for me. I put it on just about everything, before, during, after, and I've got no complaints, man. I'm sure you come to my backyard, you're going to say the same thing. That stuff rocks.
Jim?
No, I pretty much covered it.
And Huck Sr.?
Okay, well, I like to put a little bit of oil on the bird or either some butter on it before I throw the seasoning on, and then put that thing on the grill and let him go.
All right, there's the cooking portion of the show. We're going to come back and do post-cook serving. We're going to give away a couple easy hooks from bbqhooks.com. So, guys, go ahead and hang out here for the next couple minutes. I think we're good. We'll shoot off. Stay with me. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. This is the Roundtable Chicken Edition for the backyard enthusiast right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Networks.
Forget going from site to site to get all your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber as well as a full lineup of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. You can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Steven Reichland of Barbecue U fame. Check Fred out on the web at fredsmusicandbbq.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.
Joe B's is only $99 for a big 6-month supply with free shipping, and you get a 7th month free. That's less than 50 cents a day for energy and to feel great. Go to joeb's.com.
Barbecue has never been easier with the Barbecue Guru. The Barbecue Guru is a temperature control and monitor for all pits, charcoal, wood, electric, your pit. It easily attaches to any smoker or pit and gives you simple, trouble-free control of your temperatures so you can make championship quality barbecue every time and all the time. And it's location-free. Take it anywhere. This amazing breakthrough in barbecue technology is a microprocessor-controlled draft system that uses temperature monitors and a small fan to keep your temperatures constant. The stainless steel Guru Pit Minder gives you a choice of controls from 90 to 370 degrees. So cold smoking, pepper drying, making cheese or jerky, or fabulous briskets and ribs is nothing short of effortless. The Procom 4 lets you monitor your pit from up to 600 feet away, and there's more. Check out the full line of products and accessories for the future of barbecue with new items on the way. Visit thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show on LA Talk Radio.
Back and better than ever, it's the Barbecue Central Show. This is the Roundtable Chicken Edition. Portion of the show brought to you by D-Dog's Barbecue Rub. Hopefully you were able to get out there to the Zest Fest in Fort Worth, Texas, and check out Darren. By the way, his peach rub just won People's Choice out there. How about that? DDogsBBQ.com. Of course, you can always email your one-off mom-and-pop shop Willie that carries the rubs and the sauces and all that good stuff to Darren himself to get them stocked up. That's Darren, D-A-R-I-N, at DDogsBBQ.com. And as we all know here on the Barbecue Roundtable, D-Dog's Barbecue Rub is better than ketchup. We get to the post-cook events. We are joined by JM, Jim, and Huck Sr. for the Chicken Roundtable here tonight. We've taken it off. We've taken the chicken off. Oh, my. We've taken the chicken off of the cooker. Did anybody take the time before you actually took it off to set any type of a glaze or set a barbecue sauce or anything like that? And we'll start with Huck Sr.
Okay, the glaze is the last thing I'm doing on the grill. Once I get that temperature to where I want it, like I said, I'm checking it in the thigh and in the breast. Once I get it where I want it,
Huck,
then I'm putting the glaze on.
Huck, I have to interrupt you. We're going to go. This is where I throw the wrench in the whole thing at the end. This is where we have to go get two winners. So we go to area code 267. Hang on a second, guys. Go ahead. Name where you're calling from.
Hey, Craig. This is Huck Jr. from Philadelphia.
Hi, Huck. How are you?
All right.
Are you calling in for the barbecue hook?
Calling in for the barbecue hook.
All right. You are a winner. Send me your shipping info. We will get you hooked right up. All righty?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Huck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Guys, you still there? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, my. The insanity never seems to end. By the way, if you want to win the last remaining barbecue hooks, as we just gave away one to Huck Jr., Bruce McCall Jr. So, Huck, that'll be a new toy that you can play around with next time you hang out with your son. If you want to win the last remaining barbecue hook from Easy Hook from bbqhooks.com, call 216-220-0966. Go back to your glaze there, Huck. I'm sorry.
Okay, like I said, once I get the temperature up to where I want it in the breasts and the thighs, then I put my glaze on. So, I mean, that's usually like a couple minutes, like 5 minutes this side, then switch it around 5 minutes that side, let him cook in real good. Then I take them off and, at least to let the bird rest about a half an hour.
JM.
I don't specifically put a glaze on, Greg, but there is something else I do, but not a glaze.
Okay, do you want to share that with us? You're going to keep it a secret?
Oh, no, man. I just didn't want to be off topic. But, yeah, here's how I roll with it. If I'm doing a rotisserie, one time I almost burnt that thing. I was so upset I almost threw my grill in the lake out back. But instead, what I did is, of course, lowered the fire, closed the vents, stuff like that. And I loosely wrapped it in foil. And if I'm doing beer can chicken, same thing. Just loosely wrap it in that foil. And you and I both know that's going to withhold the steam that's coming off of that chicken.
Right.
Let it drip right back into that chicken as a finishing touch. Keep it real moist.
All right, Jim, before we get to you, we're going to area code 919, Barbecue Central Radio, name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, Mike Lewis from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Mike, look at you calling back. Very good.
Yeah.
You win the very last Easy Hook from bbqhooks.com. So all you have to do is send me your shipping info to bbqcentralradio@gmail.com, and Marcia Fox and the good folks over at Easy Hook will get you hooked right up.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for calling in tonight.
Bye-bye.
Another satisfied winner on the Barbecue Central Show. All right, Jim, what about you? You setting a glaze or a sauce or anything like that?
Well, it all depends on how lazy I'm feeling. And, if I'm feeling pretty lazy, I'm just going to yank that sucker off and just leave it with the rub on it. If I'm feeling creative, if I'm trying to show off or something, then I will pull that bird off of the Fast Eddie, and I will throw a glaze of some sort, either a barbecue sauce or something like that, and throw it on the grill for a little while just to sort of firm it up.
Okay. Anybody even remotely thinking, and I only ask this because it's kind of an overall question when it comes to the post-cook events of barbecue itself. Does anybody hold chicken? Everybody holds the pork butts, the briskets, maybe not so much the ribs, but does anybody do an on-purpose hold when it comes to chicken off of the grill or the cooker? And we'll go to Jim.
Well, yeah, Greg, actually I do, because I found that if you pull it off and cut right into it, then you're going to get a lot of liquid all over the place. So I'll usually let it sit for probably about 5 or 10 minutes or so. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll throw it onto my cutting board, and then I'll put a big bowl over it that will kind of hold the heat in and leave it up there for just a little bit longer, and then I'll go ahead and pull it and carve it.
Huck.
Okay, usually I'm tenting it. I put a little bit of aluminum foil over there and give it, like I said, 20 minutes at least, especially because I'm mostly doing whole birds.
JM.
I'm right there with these guys. The bird being on the heat for that long, all those juices run into the middle of it, and those juices need to redistribute to the outside of the meats for that whole thing to taste good in every single bite.
Now, is anybody of the opinion that chicken done better or chicken done correctly is any better than a good pulled pork sandwich or a brisket sandwich or ribs? Or perhaps a better question is chicken anybody's favorite barbecue versus the other meats, the other big four meats? And we'll start with Huck Sr.
Okay, well, I could say that, people have their different tastes, and if you can do a good chicken, it can go up against anything, all right? I just feel that when I brine my chickens, that they were so man, I'm sounding like you, Greg. They're so juicy and moist that it can go up against any barbecue.
Jim.
Well, yeah, actually a couple things on it. First of all, as try as I might, I've never been a big fan of ribs. So, pulled pork, definitely, brisket, definitely. Hey, I'm sorry. It is what it is. But here's the thing about chicken. Chicken, more than any of the other barbecue meats, is really a blank slate. And, picture it as your canvas. You really can paint any flavor you really want on a chicken. You're not going to change the ribs that much. You're not going to change the brisket that much. But, you could have chicken. I could serve chicken 5 nights a week, and it would taste different every single night.
Good point. Jam?
That previous answer is right on the money. I will tell you this. My initial reaction was there's no way on God's green earth chicken's ever going to taste better than pulled pork or ribs or brisket or anything like that. But, as I think about it more, it can. It's just going to take a lot more work, a lot more finesse to get that chicken to beat out a pulled pork. When you're talking about the general public, only because the pulled pork flavor, man, that is just so overpowering. I mean, it's just ridiculous how the natural flavors of pulled pork just beats out, chicken for the most part. But can be done, yes.
Anything else post-cook wise that you do to the chicken that you want to mention? We'll go back to JM.
Post-cook, no. I did remember something pre-cook that's pretty important, but after cooking, no, not really.
What do you take, the wrapper off the chicken? Is that your pre-cook thing?
No, actually, I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you, but when grilling, or not grilling, barbecuing the whole bird, or even baking it, whatever the case may be, for some reason, there's always that red line right there in between the thigh and where the thigh meets the rest of the bird. And if what you do is you actually spread that thigh open as if you're stretching the chicken's leg, draw your knife right in between there so it cuts straight through to the bone, that's actually a vein, and that's blood that's coagulated in there that unless the vein is cut, it's not going to release. And when it's somebody who doesn't understand what that is looks in their chicken, they think, oh man, it's not done. Well, if you're looking for that extra look and you don't want those comments and you want to present it right, then you cut right through that piece of the chicken and you're good to go. And I don't know if you've ever served chicken to people like that and they give you a hard time, but that'll shut them up and give them a good presentation.
I've never had that issue, but good to know. Jim, anything with you otherwise post-cook events?
No, I just pull out that little plastic bag of guts that they left in. No, kidding. That goes out well before that.
Good
no,
job.
not really.
Huck Sr.
No, other than, letting it rest for a certain period of time, nothing after that. I mean, that's the thing that brings everything together.
All right, let's do a quick I do enough self-loathing for everybody. Why don't we do a quick self-promoting portion of the show? JM, anything you want to promote or otherwise Hawk here on the Barbecue Central radio show?
Well, if people are looking to find our podcast, here's a website that they can go to. Our main website is celebritygrill.wordpress.com. That's celebritygrill.wordpress.com. And right there on the site, there's a gray iTunes button that you can actually click it. It takes you directly into iTunes to our page. We got a blog on there. I mean, if you're looking to contact me and be on the show in any way, that's one of the most effective ways. We're on all the social networks. Facebook fan page, Twitter, Delicious Dig, all these guys. LinkedIn has got to be my favorite. If there's, because we have guest interviews and stuff like that, kind of like you're doing. And I mean, everything from pro athletes, if they want to be on to communicate, pro barbecuers, restaurant managers, or anybody who owns a barbecue product or anything like that is looking for some exposure, man. That's social networks are the way to do it now. And it's kind of cool because we're actually putting a new segment in. We do Q&A a lot. That's really the majority of the show, and we're pretty fast paced with that. But we're going to do a new segment that's actually backwards. It's going to be A and Q, where instead of people giving me questions and I answer them, I'm going to ask the question, and I want to hear some answers from all the other backyard grillers out there and find out what everybody else is grilling. But all that is at celebritygrill.wordpress.com.
Jim.
Yeah, well, I have a couple of podcasts. My main one is called The Mind of Men, and it's at www.mindofmen.com, and we're on iTunes, so you can search for us there. And we bill ourselves as the podcast for guys, by guys, and about guys. And just come by. We've been doing this now for 3.5 years. We're 100-plus episodes, and we've covered all kinds of topics of interest to guys. Obviously, barbecue is one of our big ones, but we hit everything: cigars, libations, sports, you name it. We also have a dedicated cigar and libation podcast that comes out weekly, where we're pairing a cigar and some kind of a drink like a scotch or a bourbon or something like that, and we're talking about it. So, definitely invite folks to come by. We have 2 levels. We've got basically our free stuff, which is, we have a lot of episodes out there that people can come by, download absolutely for free. And if you really like what we're doing, we also have a subscription program where you have access to even more stuff. And all that information's on our website at mindofmen.com.
And Huck Sr.
Okay, we have a website, me and Junior. It's huckshut.com. We're doing podcasts now, and we do road trips. And we sample, like I said, different types of rubs. And we do reviews on that. We also compete, and we do reviews on competing, the competitions and everything. And we're just celebrating our first year of our website, and we hope to do bigger and better things. So we're having a good time doing it, and that's the main thing. We're eating well and having a good time.
All right, guys, wanted to personally thank each and every one of you for coming on the show, making this Chicken Roundtable for the Backyard Chef a success, and most importantly, continued success to each and every one of your podcast shows and your websites. We'll obviously keep in touch, and thanks again very much for taking the time out to do this for me tonight. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, guys, take care. That's the panel for the Chicken Roundtable, and I have 1 minute and maybe 1 minute flat to get out. Wanted to thank them again. Their websites, Huck Sr.'s website is huckshut.com. JM's website, celebritygrill.wordpress.com. He also has a podcast attached to that. And then Jim, mindofmen.com. Look up past episodes. Look up the barbecue stuff. I've been on there a couple times. Great guys. Mind of Men. Jim and Mike. So there you go. Another great show in the can, if you will. In the can. Damn it.
Get that good stuff out of here.
Damn right, AC. Stay tuned. Coming up after me is Broad Topics. They're going to be talking about fads tonight. Fads. No, fads. Fads. Never mind. Next week, my mom returns with a recipe segment. Also, a guy with a very cool invention called the Rivolator and the Flavor Dome. We'll be talking to him about his projects. We'll be back with some giveaways as well. Thanks again to Marcia Fox for doing the last 3 weeks of Easy Hook giveaways. Find out more about them at bbqhooks.com. Mike and Bruce Jr. win Easy Hooks tonight. Until next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host, Greg Rempe, and proud U.S. American, I might add. Good night now.
Joe B's comes with a no questions asked money back guarantee. For energy and to feel great, go to joebees.com. That's JOEBEES.com.
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Joe B's gives you every vitamin and all the minerals naturally to get energy and feel great. Go to joebees.com. That's JOEBEES.com.
Forget going from site to site to get all your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber as well as a full lineup of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. You can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Steven Reichland of Barbecue U fame. Check Fred out on the web at fredsmusicandbbq.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.